Hey guys, what's up? It's Erica. Welcome back to my channel. So I've never made a video like this before. Normally I try to write notes and kind of figure out what I want to say in a video, and maybe this is like the type of video that I should have notes for. But this video that I'm making today, as you can probably tell by the title, is talking about the whole scandal with the Stauffer family. And I'm making it because I've been obsessed with watching all the spill the tea videos, trying to figure out everything I can, just because my mind is actually blown. But I noticed that so many of the videos that were made were by people who never watched the family and just kind of jumped on the train because it's a huge scandal. And I just kind of wanted to make this video because I was someone who followed the family. I didn't follow them super closely, and I really hadn't watched some of their videos in probably the last 6 months. But for a while I was watching their videos all the time. I became a follower pretty much because of their journey of adopting Huxley. I really haven't seen that many people who have actually been followers of their family make a video about it. I began watching basically to follow the journey to adopting Huxley from China. Adoption to me is such a beautiful thing and something that I've always considered a possibility in the future. I was very attracted to their channel because of that and this journey that they were on. But besides Huxley, I wasn't really a huge fan of them. I loved watching Huxley, was just rooting for him, hoping he would adjust well, because the beginning was really difficult. And when they documented their trip to China, and he was very traumatized, as you could picture, he's terrified. He's just handed off to some family, and it was kind of heartbreaking to watch how sad he was and how scared. And that really got me invested because I just wanted to see him blossom and hopefully find a family to be with. So if you guys don't know what this whole scandal is, basically they adopted Huxley almost 3 years ago, and they just released a video on their YouTube channel that they called it rehoming, which is not the best term to use. That's a term that you would use for a pet, but they decided, and they claim that they got many doctors' recommendations that their family was not the right fit for him. So after being with their family for 2.5 years, he's now with another family. I woke up a few mornings ago, I looked on my Snapchat, and that was the story, and I was blown away. I went to work and I was I can't start working until I watch this YouTube video, because I had followed their family for such a long time and did not see that coming at all. They were so Huxley's our son, and I mean, maybe I'm just one of those stupid people who falls for what people are saying on the internet, but I thought they were adopting for the right reasons. First and foremost, I cannot imagine giving up a child like that. My mind cannot comprehend that. I'm not a parent, and I've never been in that place, and that's a reason why I'm a little bit hesitant to making this video, because as much as how I don't understand their choice, and that a part of me is if they're no longer the parents to Huxley, and maybe that is the best thing, I guess, for him now, because those people are not fit to be his parents. If they could give him up, then I don't think that they are the right parents for him. This child has a lot of special needs. He is autistic, and he is nonverbal, and also just has experienced a lot of trauma through being in an orphanage, and moving to a new place, not knowing anything, not understanding or recognizing any language that's spoken around you. That is extremely traumatizing and terrifying. With my misunderstanding for the family, they also have 4 children, and they are people who have family. They're getting so much hate right now, and as much as it's so easy to attack online, we can all agree, I think most people on the internet are not happy with them, and I don't really think that they should try to stay in the spotlight in any sense. I think they're right to be a influencer is gone away. But they are people, and when these things happen, I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, not that like you could put yourself in their shoes, because I don't think most people would make that choice, but if you were getting so much hate on the internet, like they have parents, they have children, and that it not only like hurts them, but it hurts like their whole family. As much as we can say like we disagree with the choice that they made, and like they're not the people that they portrayed themselves to be on the internet, I would never want to drive someone to do something that they couldn't erase. And as much as their choice is dishonorable, they have 4 children, and those 4 children had no say in what happened, and their name is tarnished probably for a very long time, if not the rest of their life. Yeah, I think that's where I kind of want to leave that. I don't want to spread more hate in the world. That's like the last thing that we really need right now. But I also don't want people to think I'm on their side. Okay, like 11 minutes in, and I haven't even started really talking about it. Like I said, I started following their family when they were on their journey to bringing Huxley home. I remember them having like videos of, I think you could like donate to them or something, and you could see like the first photo of him. But there were some rumors going around that James's company was giving their employees a stipend if you adopted a child. When they were on their journey to bringing Huxley home, they did ask for money. They did have like GoFundMes, and that's been talked about a lot. So I know that when they were going to see Huxley, obviously they've taken down all their videos, I can't really reference them, but they had talked about how he possibly had a brain tumor, part of his brain missing. So obviously like they were going in knowing that this child was going to have some deficits. There was obviously a huge amount of trauma from the whole experience for him. I remember him being like really afraid of Myka. Pretty much James could only hold him. I don't know why he took to James more than Myka. I don't think that like from the bat she was like an evil person or anything like that. Not from what I saw. I think, you know, for some reason he found comfort in James. I remember watching some of the videos, and like the only time I really saw like Huxley smile was when he was playing with the kids, and that was really sweet. I've always thought that when children are scared like that, it's really sweet when you can see how other children's like energy and presence calms a very upset child, because I don't know, I think they just know that like a child is with them and they feel a little bit more comfortable. So I talked about how when they were going to China, they knew that he was like possibly missing part of his brain, had a brain tumor. Obviously if he has a brain tumor, this could be like huge medical needs and like lots of money and time spent in a hospital. So the fact that they're now claiming that his like needs were more unmanageable than they thought, if you thought that he had a brain tumor or like part of his brain missing, I would assume that there would be other like things to come along with that. So the fact that he didn't have those things, I would assume that would maybe be a little bit more manageable. I don't know what their expectations were. So that was kind of weird. Also, Myka had talked about being a nurse on her channel. I mean, I don't really know what like you go through to like nursing training and everything. I don't know if you really learn about special needs kids or anything like that, but I would assume that she would maybe have been exposed to what that might entail for a child. And a big thing was I always noticed that the oldest daughter was constantly sucking her thumb, and then there's that whole thing about how Huxley had his thumb duct taped, which I am no like connoisseur on parenting, but for a kid who has been traumatized and who has autism, sucking your thumb is like a self-soothing basic 101. I don't know why she tried to stop him. I'm guessing like it might have been because of like he might have been ruining his teeth and everything. I think you kind of have to look at it like your teeth are ruined, or my son who is really struggling sucks his thumb to comfort himself and calm himself down. I don't think I would take that away. It's like that's a tool that he has. I don't know. The biggest thing that I have really that just kind of blew my mind was they recently bought a house, I think like a year ago, and I kind of like watched their videos again when they moved, because That's always interesting to me, watching like new house tours and all that. They also had another son about a year ago, and I don't think it was planned, but this was a 5th child that they were adding to the mix. And from what they were putting out on their YouTube channel, it was clear that Huxley had struggles, but they didn't make it sound like it was unmanageable for them. Like, it sounded like they had a team of people and they were like ready to tackle whatever Huxley's future looked like. About 3 months ago, I clicked on one of their videos because they had always homeschooled their children, and I saw a video that they were sending their oldest kids to like regular school, and I thought that was really interesting. I was happy for them because I think going to like normal like school and interacting with kids your age is really important. Honestly, I kind of thought that like the kids were gonna maybe be kind of weird because they were being homeschooled and their parents were a little nutso. So if anything, like that should have freed up some of Myka and James's time, because now their 2 oldest children who they used to homeschool were no longer home. Along with that, they bought a nice house. They also bought like a Range Rover. I remember seeing them like in a car and being like, oh wow, they upgraded, because they used to have like a van or something. And I was kind of taken aback that they were able to afford so much. They also are very like an organic, eat healthy. Like they would always go to Whole Foods, which if you've been to Whole Foods, you know it costs a lot of money. Apparently, like a few months ago, Myka made a video talking about how James had made like $42,000 on his 14 million viewed video. So it was very clear that money was like not a huge issue at that point. I would imagine like if you had 5 kids, it's very overwhelming, and especially one who has special needs, who needs a lot of your time. I would assume that if you had some extra money, you could afford to hire someone to help maybe more full time, spend money on like more therapies, or even spending money to have an activity for your other kids to go and do, so you can have that one-on-one time with Huxley. So if you have watched the video, they claim that they decided to find Huxley a new home because doctors and people in the medical world said that they thought that maybe another family would be a better fit for Huxley. I don't know why they said that. Maybe having 5 kids was maybe like a lot for him. I guess where the confusion kind of comes in my head is, if a doctor did say that, I don't know their motives behind it. Maybe they kind of saw the wackadoo in the Stauffer family and were like, we need to get this child out of there. And you know, if that was why they said that, I guess like I could see them like wanting Huxley to have a better family. One, I don't know if that is even true. I have a really hard time fathoming how a doctor would suggest to give up your child. If the doctors did say that, I don't know if they would say that if their child was a biological child. And if that like played a factor in it, shame on them. That's just like wrong. I just can't even imagine that. Your child is your child, no matter if you gave birth to them or not. Okay, I've gotten like so off topic. I just started talking about something and then I worry about how it's gonna come off, and then I just get off on another tangent. The thing that I think a lot of people are mad about was like how much that they had been asking for money to afford this journey with Huxley, but were living like an extremely lavish life, and that like something from the very start was something that I noticed. But like, if you have money to go buy nice purses and nice jewelry, why are you asking your followers for money to adopt your son? That didn't really sit right with me from the very start. Along with, apparently they went to Bali around the time they probably found Huxley a new home. I'm guessing that like their mindset behind it was that they wanted to connect back in Bali together. They have been posting very normally for the last like 3 months, but Huxley has been noticed to have not been in lots of her Instagrams, and apparently, I really haven't followed them in the last 6 months, but apparently followers were reaching out being like, where's Huxley, worried about him, and she would get rid of any comments that were expressing like worry about Huxley. I think that most people would not try to portray a normal, like, she was like acting like nothing was going on, and I think if you were losing a child, I don't think you could really like post normally and make videos on what I eat in a day in quarantine and like clean with me. The whole situation is like kind of stomach turning and like upsetting, along with like all the damage that this is doing to Huxley, because as a child who had issues with like trust, and it was very clear that when they brought him home, obviously he's with strangers, he doesn't know if he can trust them or not. That's something that takes time to build. This is like kind of restarting him, because now he is with his new family that he's gonna have to learn how to trust again, and now I'm sure has been traumatized by never seeing his old family again. And also for their children who grew up with Huxley for the last 3 years, they're like kind of little and I'm sure have no memory of like when Huxley wasn't around. They have probably traumatized their own children now. Something that was sort of like insinuated in their videos, they didn't want to go into detail about the difficulties that they were having with Huxley that brought them to find him a new home. But it was kind of insinuated that there had been possibly some violence or something, and that they were worried about their other children. But also, he is 4 years old. I think we all saw that like story of that girl from someplace in Eastern Europe, and she was possibly really 30 years old and was acting like she was 5 or something. And I saw some videos where her adoptive parents were saying they were waking up and she would have like a knife over them, or she would like try to poison them, and that is like freaky. I have no idea, I didn't really follow that. I just saw like some random video about that. But that, terrifying. But like a 4-year-old who probably just didn't know how to express the feelings he was feeling, didn't really have the means to express them, still trying to figure it out, probably was just having some outbursts and like trying to express whatever anger, frustration he was feeling. And like I said, Huxley's 4 years old. Like, I mean, I don't know the child, but I can't really imagine a child, especially, I mean, I would see him on the vlog, it seemed like such a sweet child who really just wanted to be loved. I could not imagine any like intentional acts of violence. Sometimes you can almost do more damage when you say, I don't want to go into the details, but we'll just leave it at like some things happened in the house that we don't want to talk about, because then it leaves all this room for people to interpret of what happened, and maybe they are trying to protect the privacy of him, but then it could also be like, oh, he threw a toy and we found that to be not safe for our children. I don't know, people's minds run wild, and no one really knows what happened in the house and why they came to the choice that they did. This might just be a blessing for this child, because he was not in a house with the right people apparently. This might just be like the best thing that's happened for Huxley, and hopefully it is. Hopefully he has a family that truly sticks by him through every struggle and every hurdle and every beautiful moment in his life. Yeah, I have talked for so long making this video. I've never made a video like this, and we'll see if it gets uploaded. But I had just seen so many videos about this whole scandal, and kind of just wanted to come on and talk about it, because not many people, I felt like, were actually like followers of their family, and as someone who used to watch their family kind of regularly, I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents, because when I heard about the news, it blew my mind. I knew who Huxley was, I knew like the whole family and everything. Did not see it coming, but I always thought they were a little wackadoo, but I thought they were like the good wackadoo, not like the bad wackadoo, if you know what I mean. Thank you guys for watching.